WHCS Channel 5 presents the Virginia State Group AAA High School Championship. The Garfield Indians versus the Kecoughtan Warriors. From Dale City in Northern Virginia, good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Cole, along with Bob Hintz and Mike McCormick. We are happy to bring you this championship game of the Group AAA between the 20-5 Kecoughtan Warriors and the 23-2 Garfield Indians. And Bob, Mike, we have a superb matchup tonight between two very fine pitchers. Brett Wheeler for the Warriors, of course, and Brian McNichol going on the mound for the Garfield Indians.
Well, the reason to use McNichol is because he is a left-hander, and the scouting report, I'm sure, says that Kecoughtan hits better right-handers than they do left-handers. He is 9-2. The other young man that they have is 9-0. But this Kecoughtan team has done tremendous things, and I tell you that the rain delays and all has probably helped them a little bit. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
I would say so. Buddy Denton is probably the best at getting teams ready as far as physically ready and mentally ready, and I think they're going to be ready to go against this left-hander tonight. They had to go through three very good left-handers that First Colonial had, and they beat some real good left-handers last year during the summer. I think they're ready for this young man.
Of course, the Kecoughtan Warriors, as you look into their dugout, have had problems hitting the ball during the postseason play. They came alive when they needed to, but to this point, they have not really gotten the kind of hitting that they expect or need to have to win this championship. We're going to give you the starting lineups right now for the Kecoughtan Warriors. At shortstop will be Damon Phillips,
better known as Pookster Phillips.
Muski will be second baseman. David Denton will bat third, playing first base. Steve Smizer, the right fielder, will be batting cleanup. Buddy Denton's Warriors will have Brett Wheeler batting number 5 and pitching. Pat Roscoff will be the left fielder batting 6th. Robert Arredondo will play third base. He'll bat 7th. Macy Brooks will be the DH. He will bat in place of Morocco Brown, and Brown will play center field. And David Skorupski will play catcher for Buddy Denton's Kecoughtan Warriors. We are set to go. We'll give you the starting lineups as we can for the Garfield Indians. First pitch is on the way to Phillips. It is hit high in the air to short center field. Center fielder in and makes the catch to record the first out of the ball game. That was Kevin Parker, the center fielder for the Garfield Indians. So the second batter of the inning will be Jacob Muski, the second baseman for the Kecoughtan Warriors. There you see the big left-hander Brian McNichol, 1.57 ERA, a 9-2 record for the number 11 ranked nationally Garfield Indians.
Well, he's had 111 strikeouts in the season. Damon liked that first ball. He just got underneath it, popped it up into shallow center. But that kind of gives you the indication that they're going to be very aggressive. They're going to come out very aggressive.
Muski looks at strike one. They count even at 1-1. Just underway from Dale City, Virginia. Happy to bring you this Group AAA championship game. Muski hits the ball to the second baseman, over to first for the second out of the inning as Chris Williams, not Williams, but rather Chris Wright, the second baseman, made an easy play on it. And it brings up the third batter, David Denton. Of course, David Denton enjoying a tremendous season for the Warriors, coming in the game batting .423 with 8 home runs.
And 35 runs batted in, which are both school records for the Warriors.
Denton swings and misses on the first pitch. As time allows, we'll give you a shot at home of where we are. Precariously perched on a building behind the Kecoughtan Warrior dugout. Kind of a unique situation. Denton takes it on the corner. Strike 2. So far, nothing but bullets thrown by McNichol. He has found the strike range instantly. Fouled away, out of play.
Headed for that little convertible over there?
Well, you're right. We made a good move by parking where we did. That didn't miss the old convertible by much.
Don will be very upset.
Outside low. A ball and 2 strikes, the count to David Denton. Denton's been in a bit of a slump, as have the rest of the Warriors, really, with the stick. We're kind of hoping to see him break loose tonight. He hits this one to short right field, the second baseman backing up. Chris Wright makes the third out of the inning. And the Warriors go down in order, 1, 2, 3 in the top half of the first inning.
Well, Mike, you had a lot of success during the summer with a lot of these young men in Legion ball. You even made it all the way up to New Jersey, right?
Right, we made it to the Mid-Atlantic Regionals last August. So several of these players that are on this Kecoughtan team are seasoned in terms of postseason play. And when I was at the hotel this afternoon, they looked like the same group that I saw in many hotel rooms last summer. They were relaxed and they were ready to go when 7 o'clock came tonight.
You know, we talked about how Kecoughtan, of course, comes into this game not nationally ranked, and Garfield with the big national ranking, #1 in the Washington Post for this area. But in a one-game series like this, you got to throw all those statistics out, really.
It doesn't mean anything. You still have to go out and you have to pitch and you have to field and you have to get timely hitting. And I think those are the 3 key factors in a game of this magnitude this evening. Buddy wants to get good, strong pitching from his ace, Brett Wheeler. He wants to get the good defense that they played all year long. And it's not important how many hits they get tonight, but they bunch them in the right places.
And that's what they've really done in postseason play, is they haven't been prolific with their hitting, but they've had timely hits and good aggressive base running and things like that, as evidenced by the win over First Colonial last week. Let's give you the starting lineups for the Garfield Indians, if we're ready to do so, Mr. Director. For the Indians, Chris Wright will be at second base, Kevin Parker at center field, Brian Jersey is the first baseman, Ron Pennell is the shortstop, Brian McNichol, the big left-handed pitcher, Rick Gasly is his battery mate, Ron Fisner is the third baseman, Brian Helmerson is the DH, batting for the left fielder Ben Davies, and the right fielder is Chris Williams. And Tony Labozetta is the head coach of the Garfield Indians.
I wonder if he's Italian.
Hopefully. Leadoff batter for the Indians is Chris Wright. Chris Wright comes into the game. See if we can find
Right
Mr.
here,
Wright.
no, right here at the bottom.
Oh, at the right. Okay, 268, the leadoff hitter. Has not committed an error in the field this year. Takes the first pitch from Brett Wheeler. And it's a ball. You get so spoiled from doing those games over at ODU where you have a $1 million scoreboard. Strike call. 1-1 the count.
Brett will get the corners on you. He's a good location pitcher. We saw that against that First Colonial team.
Check swing. The ball is hit to short center field. It's going to drop in for a base hit. That's one of those excuse me, I didn't mean to swing type hits, but it is a single nonetheless. And the leadoff batter for the Indians is on base, bringing up the center fielder, Kevin Parker. Check swing single.
Kevin is batting .398 in that second spot.
So the Indians have a base runner at first. We do not have steal statistics for their players, so we'll just have to kind of guess at that. But a swinging strike by Parker. Brett Wheeler, 13-3 on the season, has a 1.0 ERA. Wheeler delivers a little outside, evens the count at 1-1.
It's a little strange from sitting at this angle at this ball game where we got a better shot from behind the plate over there at Old Dominion Complex.
Fooled badly on the pitch was Parker, swinging and missing for strike 2.
Now, Mike, was that a change-up, or did he use the curve?
That was just a slow curve, and what made that pitch so effective was that he started it in the middle of the plate and it moved on the outside. And the young man at the plate tried to yank it, he tried to pull it, and he was unsuccessful in even getting a hold of it.
We saw that big sweeping curveball from Wheeler last week against First Colonial. Hit sharply, good play at the shortstop. They'll get one, that's all. But a fine effort by Damon Phillips to stab that ball and throw out the lead runner.
I tell you, Damon was catcher last year and moved to shortstop, and a lot of people thought they'd see in the Peninsula District thought they would see him behind the plate again.
Well, with the loss of Mark McFadden, who was just an exceptional shortstop, and Damon has kind of played in his footsteps for years, you never know where Damon's going to play. He's going to play somewhere on the field. He can play it all.
The batter is Brian Jersey, the first baseman for the Indians. Runner at first, one away. And this one hits him. Hit by the pitch, so Jersey will go down to first base. Didn't make a great deal of effort to get out of the way of the pitch. So runners at first and second now. And Ron Pennell, the shortstop, will be the batter. Is that one of those take one for the team situations there, Mike?
He gets rung up on his hands a couple of times. He won't be taking it.
Pennell's batting .450.
One away here in the bottom half of the first inning. No score. Championship game between the Kecoughtan Warriors and the Garfield Indians. Channel 5 happy to bring this championship game to you. Shortstop steps in, right-handed batter. Swings and pops it high in the air to center field. Rock Brown, I should say, has got the ball and quickly into the infield. No advance by the players.
Good job by Rock. He positioned himself underneath the ball so that when he caught it, he was ready to fire it in, which he did. And
well, not hit very deep, so there really was no opportunity to advance the runners.
Well, that gives us 2 out.
Brian McNichol is the batter, the pitcher. What kind of stats we got from
He
Mr.
got
McNichol?
batting .316, Tim.
On the left side of the plate. Hit sharply to the second baseman, over to first for the third out. So the Warriors give up a couple of runners on a check swing base hit and a hit batsman. But Brett Wheeler knuckled down and finished him off.
Well, that brings up Mr. Smeisner, the right fielder, will be leading off.
Smizer.
I want to put an extra syllable in there. That's what I got you for. You learned all these pronunciations when we used to do the Russian junior national team.
I have a hard time with Jones, Smith, and Brown, I'm promising you. So Smizer, Wheeler, and Roscoff will be the batters in the second inning for the Kecoughtan Warriors. One hit, no runs for the Indians. No hits, no runs for the Warriors.
Buddy looks good and loose out there, Mike.
Buddy's relaxed. I got an opportunity to speak with him at the hotel, and of course, Buddy and I spent 8 years together on the baseball field coaching with one another, so I kind of know what he's going through right now, and he's getting eaten up a little bit inside, but he's a fairly relaxed person to begin with. He wants to win this ball game. It's not just important for him to be here. He wants to win this, and that's what he shared with me today.
Well, you know, to win any championship, I think you have to have a little luck along the way, not only in the games you play, but in baseball, the games you don't play get played because of rainouts or whatever has a tendency to change starters like we had over at the first Colonial game.
This is a game of inches, and he knows it. He's been there before many times, and I think he's relaxed and just enjoying himself. He enjoys good competition.
Well, I tell you, he's had some teams that I think could have won state championship at Kecoughtan. And not to take anything away from Buddy, it's, again, a game of inches, and you just the right place at the right time sometimes.
It really is.
First pitch to Smizer is a call strike. He held up on his swing, but the umpire called it a strike nonetheless. Smizer comes in the game hitting .272. This one in the dirt for a ball. Smizer with 22 hits in 81 official at-bats. He had 2 doubles, a triple, and a home run on the season, and drew 10 bases on balls. Right fielder Steve Smizer, and a call strike 2.
Look a little high from this angle.
Steve did a fine job playing not only right field for the Warriors this season, but also as the second pitcher. Had a very fine 5-1 record. This ball is hit. Center fielder coming in on the ball and makes the grab for the first out of the inning.
Everybody seems to be popping the ball up. Are they just dropping their shoulder, getting underneath it, or is it the way the pitcher's pitching?
They're a little anxious. They're getting their hands below the ball, and they're driving the ball up. But I like how aggressive that they're being right now. Both teams are aggressive, and Garfield's had a couple of base runners. But Kecoughtan's going to get some base runners here pretty soon.
Well, and I noticed that they're hitting the ball. I mean, they're making good contact with it. It's just, like you said, they're getting their hands underneath the ball. But I like the aggressiveness they're showing.
Brett Wheeler, the pitcher, comes to the plate, takes strike one.
Bob and Tim, one of the things that really causes the hand to get underneath the ball is when you're over stride. And I'm sure they're a little anxious, or they're ready to go right now, and they're just jumping at this ball a little bit too much right now.
Swing and a miss by Wheeler. Well, you know, you get to this game, and this is for all the marbles. You're not only are you a little bit tight, but you can play it aggressively, because this is a one-game series versus, you know, your best of 5 or best of 7 or things like that with some other championships. But I'm glad to see both of the teams coming out here with the bats moving. There's none of this boring Super Bowl type attitudes that I'm glad I'm here and I'm not going to play my best because I've made it as far as I wanted to. Got a very competitive spirit on this Kecoughtan team, to say the least. Wheeler takes high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 away here in the top half of the second inning. No score. McNichol, and he gets Wheeler on strikes as he looks at that outside corner, and the umpire punches him out for out number 2. It'll bring up the left fielder, Patrick Roscoff. Patrick with 293 on the season. 58 official at-bats and 17 hits. Warriors still looking for their first hit. A swing and a miss by Roscoff. McNichol has real fine control, certainly at this point in the game. He has not thrown very few balls.
He does. He's a very crafty left-hander. He reminds me a great deal of Cespedes at First Colonial. You know, this ball club, a lot of these young men who played for us last summer got to go against 2 of the top left-handed pitchers in the state. One of the young men was from Woodbridge, and I can't recall his name right now, and the other one was a fellow from Fairfax by the name of Bill Pulsifer, who signed with the New York Mets. So they've seen crafty, good left-handers before, and I think they'll settle down and they'll start hitting the ball off of them.
2 down here in the second. Count is 0-2 to Patrick Roscoff. In the dirt, gets away from the catcher.
And when that gets by that catcher, Tim, it is going downhill. It looks like about a 25-degree angle going down to the bottom of the fence.
This field has one incredible crown to it. It's very unique. Roscoff takes ball 2. The dugouts are actually situated on such a slope that as you are standing in the dugout, your eye is even with the field. There's that severe a slope, and it's hard to pick that up on TV. Check swing, and they say no, he went around. So. Second strikeout of the inning, and the third out, 6 in a row now for McNichol, as the Warriors have gone down in order through 2. And in the bottom half of the second inning, still no score. With Garfield coming to bat, they did have 1 hit in their half of the first inning. Brett Wheeler will trot out, and he will face Rick Gastley, Rhett Fissner, and Brian Helmerson, scheduled batters here in the second for Garfield.
Well, Helmerson is the DH, but he's also the pitcher that will come in if McNichol gets into any problems.
Yeah, McNichol is 9-2. Helmerson is only 9-0. So the pitching prowess of Garfield has carried them a long way this season. Saw some of the action from the previous inning and get a good look at David Skorupski, who by the way, we want to clarify something. David is going to be going to Emerson College in the Boston area.
Yes, in Boston. We said he was going up north. That's going north. He's going to study journalism with concentration in sports coverage. We want to
looking for our jobs, probably.
Yeah, well.
David is a great sports fan, and he loves hockey. And I'm sure one day he would love to be a commentator with.
Well, he and I could talk hockey. See, that's how I cut my teeth on broadcasting. I used to be with the Hampton Gulls way back in the old days. And David and I could talk hockey probably for a few hours. That's my favorite sport. Rick Gasly, the catcher, steps in. And a strike, 1 count. Gasly coming in .333 on the season. 2 home runs to his credit. Swing and a miss for strike 2. So Wheeler looks like he is getting in the groove very nicely. He did give up a check swing single in the first and then did hit a batter. Other than that, he was extremely tough. Pitch a little outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Brett likes to work quickly. In the dirt for a ball, 2 count.
Talk about the different pitches that Brett has. I know he's got this curve. We talked about the split-fingered fastball.
Brett doesn't throw the split finger,
no.
but he's started throwing a slider.
That's it.
And he's cutting the fastball a little bit. Of course, I think Brett's bread and butter pitch is his fastball, which he moves in and out so well.
2-2 the count. This one up high for a full count now. Bottom of the second inning, no score. Nobody out. Leadoff batter Rick Gasly with a full count. Fouled out of play. Woke up some of the fans there on the far side.
I tell you, if they get one over here, it'll wake me up.
That's why we got these people in front of us.
I know.
And our favorite cameraman, Melvin Hooker, to our right here, he said he'd block whatever came this way.
Okay. But he's closer to you than he is to me.
Bounder to second, over to first for the out. So Muski with the assist.
You can tell when Brett has good stuff on his fastball. Muski has already had several balls hit to him in the first 2 innings. That means they're late on him, and he's got good stuff on his ball.
All right, now Muski's young man hurt his ankle late in the season and came back during the playoffs. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. He had some trouble moving laterally when he came back, but he made some fine plays in the first Colonial game, I believe, and he looks to me like he's almost 100% now.
Rhett Fisner, the third baseman, steps in for the Indians. Fisner batting .324 for the season. Wheeler delivers. This one is hit deep to right field, and Smizer watches it over the fence. Fisner, who did not hit a home run during the regular season and postseason play, does here in the championship game. And it gives Garfield the lead, 1-0. So the left-handed batter just got all of that fastball. I assume it was a fastball. Powered it right over the right field fence. There are no signs indicating the distance on this fence, but I'd say it's about 275 in the corners. Batter now is going to be Brian Helmerson, the DH. .340 batter on the season. Off the fists, out of play. So Rhett Fisner has gotten Garfield in the score column. He was one of a handful of Indians that had not hit a home run this year. And interestingly enough, Wheeler has only given up 3 all season long.
That makes number 4.
Yep. 1-1 the count. 1 away here in the bottom half of the second inning. Fouled back, out of play. Real nice crowd on hand for this game.
Yeah,
shame they don't have a facility for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a shame we don't have a facility. What does that do to a pitcher when they give up a home run like that? Do you just...
Well, Brett has great emotions out there. I don't think he'll let it bother him that much. Obviously, he must have got a pitch in a zone where the young man was looking for the ball and he drove it hard. But I think Brett will come right back and get into his groove again, and that's what he's got to do in order to be effective the rest of the game.
2-2 the count. And he's called out on strikes. A slow reaction by the umpire, but he did in fact punch him out for the second out of the inning. That's the first strikeout of the ball game for Wheeler. Brings up the ninth batter, Chris Williams, the right fielder.
In fact, Bob, since you brought it up, I think some of our young viewers, if they would just look at the emotions of Brett Wheeler and what he did after the home run, that's how you are a successful pitcher. He came right back after the next hitter. He made some real good pitches on him and wound up striking him out. He didn't go up on the mound and start throwing the ball all over the place.
And that's what you got to do. Is you got to understand that it's just one pitch. This young man, Williams, is batting .317. But yeah, that was what I was looking at him, and it just, from this distance, it looked like he's just doing business, he's got a job to do.
Well, we saw him have problems last week against First Colonial in one inning where he gave up 3 runs and could have easily, not regrouped himself, but to the contrary, he very much regrouped himself and came back and won that game.
Well, he'd run about 14 in a row out. I mean,
yep. Second inning was his problem last week. Gave up 3 hits and 3 runs in the second last.
He does a great job of what we call turning the page. He just moves on to the next chapter in the book and takes it from there.
3-1 the count to Williams, and he is swinging on 3-1 up the middle for a base hit.
Well, as a batter, I remember talking to you, Mike, that's the pitch that you look for, that 3-1.
You shouldn't get a better pitch at an at-bat than a 3-1 pitch. Pitcher doesn't want to walk you. Most of the time you're going to get a fastball, and that's, of course, what he was sitting on, and he just hit the ball hard up the middle.
So the top of the order coming up now for the Indians, and this will have Chris Wright, who had a check swing single in the first inning for the first hit off of Wheeler.
Well, he's had 15 hits this year so far, Tim. Has scored 20 times.
Runner is going. Skorupski throws, got it in time, and nailed the runner.
All right, nice throw.
So a fine effort by Skorupski to nail the attempted stealer, Chris Williams.
There is no question in my mind, Tim and Bob, that the most improved player on this Kecoughtan team is David Skorupski.
Well, we was talking to Danny Mitchell last week, and that's what he said. That was not, they didn't know this guy. He came out of nowhere as far as the rest of the peninsula knew. And the young man, and Buddy says he's probably one of the best catchers in the district.
He is, and sometimes overshadowed because of another good catcher in the district in Jason Harris. But David Skorupski gets a good pitch to handle, and here we're getting a shot of the home run that was hit.
Yeah, I wanted to, if we can at another time, perhaps, Scotty, get a second look at it, because I kind of looked up just as it hit, just to see where that ball looked. It looked to be around the knees.
It was a belt-high fastball that he got in, and the young man really turned his hips on it and got out in front and drove
it.
He
truly did. That was, if you had to draw up the perfect picture swing, that was it. Truly was a nice effort by Fisner to give his team a 1-0 lead.
Well, the catcher you were talking about is the young man over at Bethel High School.
Here it is again, Bob. If I may interrupt you, I'm sorry. Here it is. This is the home run. Coming up. No, those are fans.
Those are fans.
Okay, here it comes. I'm told here it comes. Here it is. That ball right in the wheelhouse.
Belt high, perfect pitch for a left-hander to drive, and he opened up on it real well.
Okay, Bob, I'm sorry. I'll let you get back to your thought.
We was talking about Skorupski and how well he's done, but he's been overshadowed by the young man over at Bethel High School.
Arredondo is the batter.
I'm trying to remember.
Jason Harris.
Jason Harris.
Jason Harris is an exceptional catcher, especially a defensive catcher, and has been throughout his entire career at Bethel. And David has really come on strong on this ball club here, though.
Arredondo, the third baseman, swings and misses for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Arredondo, batting .276 on the season. 21 hits in 76 at-bats. McNichol ahead on the batter. Throws it high for a ball. 2-2. Warriors still looking for their first base runner. McNichol has retired the first 6. You're watching the State Group AAA championship game between Kecoughtan High School and Garfield High School. Swing and a miss from Arredondo, and that's the 3rd K in a row registered by Mr. McNichol as he is in a groove big time.
That brings up our DH, Macy Brooks, batting for Morocco Brown, the center fielder.
Brooks batting .231, 19 hits and 82 at-bats. There you see the shot from our center field camera. Good look, and a swing and a miss from the big left-hander. I like that shot. That turns out pretty well. There you see that shot again. Brooks takes strike 2. Boy, that ball looked a little low. Tough to call it, though, from up here or out there. So McNichol again ahead of the batter. And a swing and a miss. So 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and the 4th strikeout in a row for McNichol. He is definitely warming to the task. And we'll bring up the number 9 hitter, David Skorupski, who made that fine play to nail the attempted steal to end the 2nd inning.
Well, I'm sure that McNichol's confidence is building as he registers these Ks.
And he is not wasting any pitches. He didn't waste any pitches during the season. He threw so well that he registered 111 strikeouts and only 33 base on balls.
That is a great ratio right there. When you start talking to pitchers about being around the plate all the time and you show those figures, you know this young man can pitch.
That pitch a little outside. 2 balls and a strike for one of the few times in the ball game. McNichol falls behind on the count.
Just when you was talking about him.
Inside, 3-1. So the Warriors still looking for that first base runner. Might have that opportunity here. Skorupski with the advantage in his court. 3-1. Pops it up right side. It should, well, it might be in play. I started to say it's out of play, but it looks like the first baseman will be able to make a play and does. So the Warriors go down in order for the 3rd time. And after 3 innings, our score, I should say 2.5 innings. The Warriors, no runs, no hits, and no errors. And the Garfield Indians, 3 hits, 1 run, and no errors. Due up, Chris Wright will return to the plate as he was at bat when Skorupski threw out the base runner Chris Williams. So Chris Wright with the single in the 1st will come up to lead off the 3rd inning. He'll be followed by Kevin Parker and Brian Jersey. There you see our score.
Young Mr. Wright had as we watched the replay of the
Skorupski's
pop-out. The pop-out. Wright had 56 at-bats this year and had 15 hits, batting .268. And you see how far over the first baseman went to get that.
I thought from our angle it appeared that it may, in fact, be a ball that would go out of play, but it did not. It stayed in play. A pretty wide foul area here on the base paths on the near sides. You saw our perch. We are up here on the perch. We're happy to tell you I'm Tim Cole and Bob Hintz along with Mike McCormick. Nice to have you join us, Mike. Appreciate you coming up and lending your expertise about the Kecoughtan Warriors. Of course, we didn't pick up coverage of the Warriors till the very end of the season, so you certainly have a much greater insight for many reasons than we do on this team. Wheeler getting ready to go to work here. He is going to be facing the top of the order, as I said, Chris Wright to lead off. Chris Wright did lead off with a excuse me single in the 1st inning. Swing and a miss on a pitch well outside the strike zone. Bottom half of the third inning, this game moving right along. Wheeler, as I mentioned, likes to work quickly, and McNichol is not dissimilar in that respect.
Oh, nice pitch.
Nice curveball from Wheeler.
he
He
saw the heat. That first ball saw the heat coming in. He was way ahead of it.
So Wheeler quickly ahead of the batter. Wright looking at an 0-2 count. And swinging and foul tipping, but held on to by Skorupski. So Wright is the first out of the third inning, the second strikeout victim of Brett Wheeler. And Kevin Parker, who reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning, will be the batter.
Well, Kevin is the center fielder, and he's batting .278. He's been at bat 90 times, Tim, has had 34 hits. 3 home runs to his credit.
First pitch from Wheeler is off the plate for a ball. Curveball on the outside corner and a swing and a miss. 1-1 the count. Strike 2. Wheeler didn't do too badly in the strikeout ratio to base on balls either. You know, you're talking about the fine control exhibited by McNichol as this ball is hit down the third baseline. Arredondo over to first, and he is out at first. Fine play by Robert Arredondo to throw out the batter. But Wheeler had 44 base on balls, or has to this point of the season, with 158 strikeouts. So again, more than 3 times as many, almost 4 times as many strikeouts as bases on balls. Third batter of the inning is Brian Jersey, the first baseman. He was hit by a pitch in the first inning.
Well, he's batting .451, has been at the plate 71 times, and has 32 hits.
And he comes up with the bat swinging on the first pitch, fouled back out of play. Wind almost dead calm. At the beginning of the game, the wind was favoring the pitchers as it was blowing in from center field. But basically, at this point, the flag in center field is, for all intents and purposes, limp. And not an unpleasant evening. We could have had a much hotter evening. It was in the upper 80s earlier in the day, but certainly is more than comfortable this time of the evening. Ball hit to the first baseman. Denton will handle it himself, and he'll step on the bag for out number 3.
1, 2, 3.
So Wheeler gets the job done nicely here in the third inning with a 1-2-3 inning. And we've played 3 complete now. And it still is a 1-0 game in favor of the Garfield Indians. Here you see a replay of the last out of the inning. Ball hit to David Denton, the first baseman, and he easily steps on the bag for the third out.
We'll talk about this Brian McNichol, Tim. He has appeared in 16 games this year. He has started 9. He has pitched to 299 batters coming into this game, so you can add 9 to that total. He's allowed 38 singles, 4 doubles, 1 triple, and 2 home runs.
We don't have his physical statistics, but he looks to be either real tall or all of his teammates are real short.
No, he's a good-sized young man because the shortstop is another good-sized young man, so he's pretty big out there.
Looks to be about 6'5", 6'6".
I would say in that range.
Has the appearances of the Ben McDonald physique. If you're familiar with the Baltimore Orioles, he's tall and lanky like McDonald. Leadoff batter, Damon Phillips. Pookster.
Pookster, yes, sir. Took the first pitch the last inning and drilled it out into center field.
Only to be caught, I should add. This is strike one now to Phillips. The count even at 1-1. Good look from our center field camera. Phillips inside, ball 2.
I think this is a pretty big inning right here. We're still a little early in the game, in the middle of the game, I guess. But Brett did a real good job retiring the side with their 1, 2, and 3 batters. Now our 1, 2, and 3 batters are getting their second look here.
Phillips swings and misses.
Yeah, he was way out in front of that time. You could see the expression on his face that he was kind of mad at himself, being fooled.
2-2 the count. Pops this up right side. First baseman over, and this one is out of play. Good hustle by Brian Jersey, the first baseman, to make the attempt, but the ball just on the other side of the fence. Ahead of the pitch, pulls it down the third baseline, just out of the reach of the third baseman. So Phillips stays alive now at 2-2. Crowd virtually completely ringing the field here at Garfield High.
Come on, Damon!
Nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning. Garfield leading 1-0 in the state championship game. Phillips lines this one fair, just inside the line. He'll easily make second. So cancel the no-hitter, cancel the first perfect game as Phillips lines the ball down the third baseline perfectly for a double.
Well, he got way out in front of that one, Mike.
Well, Damon, for all intents and purposes, has always been a pull hitter, and he got a pitch that he could turn on that was probably the middle of the plate inside, and he just hit the ball very hard.
What's your strategy here with the runner on second? Will you try to move him to third?
I would definitely think that he's going to try to either bunt the ball to get the runner to third, or he's going to try to move the ball to the right side of the infield.
Muski takes a ball, a strike. Looked a little low from here, but a call strike nonetheless. Looks down to Coach Denton for the signal. Phillips draws a lot of attention from both the shortstop and the second baseman, and now McNichol steps off the rubber. One of the statistics we don't have, Mike, is the batting technique prowess of these batters. Is Muski generally a good butter?
I think Jacob has pretty good hands and does a pretty good job with the stick, and he's trying to move that runner here. He was giving it a shot right there, trying to go to right field. Really, all he needs is a ground ball on the right-hand side of the infield that gets by the pitcher to move that runner.
Which is easier said than done with Phillips, with McNichol rather having superb control throughout this game so far, retiring the first 9 batters. So you'd almost have to be the great optimist to think not only can you get a hit, but to hit it on the right side of the field.
But really, that's the angle that the ball's coming from on a left-hander. Sure. That's what they should be trying. That's the direction they should be trying to hit the ball anyway.
Interesting technique by the shortstop and second baseman on the pickoff attempt here. I watched.
Well, they try to block his view, you know.
Shortstop comes over, circles behind Phillips at second. Then, after he goes to the bag, runs in front of Phillips, cutting off his vision of the pitcher. And then the second baseman comes over and tries to catch him off the bag. Muski is unable to advance the runner as he goes down on strikes. That is the 5th strikeout by McNichol.
Well, here
brings
comes
up David Denton.
Young David Denton, 3.9 GPA, all district 91-92.
You refer to him as young David. Is that because Dad is old David? Or?
No,
okay,
because he's young.
He'd probably like just be called David.
I say young David because you stand next to him, he's a good-sized young man.
I didn't know whether that was his nickname. No balls, 1 strike to count to young David Denton. Denton hits the ball to the third baseman, not allowing the advancement of the runner, and throws him out at first. So Denton is out at first, 5-3, and it brings up Steve Smizer, the right fielder.
Steve is probably the most comfortable of the Warrior players on this field. Steve played his sophomore year. He played a couple of games here against Garfield when he was playing with Woodbridge. So the surroundings are familiar to him, and I'm sure that he's much more relaxed than some of the other kids.
Young man graduated already from, as all these seniors did. He's going to be going to James Madison in the fall.
Check swing, foul tip by Smizer. So Phillips still sitting on second after getting the leadoff double. Muski was unable to advance him, as was Denton. Now Smizer with 2 away takes ball inside, 1-1 the count. Phillips the only base runner so far for the Warriors. We're in the top half of the 4th inning. 1-0 on the strength of a Garfield home run. This one hit to center field. The center fielder playing in shallow has to go all the way to the wall to get the ball. Smizer is going to round second. He'll hold up, and a good play. Well, he might have made it after the ball came through and missed the cutoff man.
What a nice stroke on that ball, Mike.
That was a very nice piece of hitting. Again, he took the left-hander up the middle. He didn't try to pull the ball and hit the ball real hard. Key, timely hitting. That's what wins these kind of games. With 2 outs, Steve comes through.
Big hit by Smizer as he really hit that ball. We'll see it again. This one was down low. Smizer went to right field, but got all of it. And there you see just the tail end of it. The right fielder, center fielder rather, had to go back all the way. They were not in a position to field it.
Now we got a courtesy runner. It's Chris Chuck Payne.
Smizer obviously greeted at the dugout by all of his teammates.
Yeah, it's just a freshman runner. Well, almost sophomore now, right?
Right. Buddy pulled up several JV ball players, and he has used them in key situations as runners. So he must have taken a good look at their speed.
Well, he's got on here, he runs well. He's an outfielder, and he uses him during the game as one of the pitch runners, and he's got a 3.2 GPA.
Brett Wheeler, the pitcher, is the batter, takes strike 1.
You know, Bob, that's a good piece of coaching right there that might go overlooked in this postseason play. Buddy did not have a lot of speed on this team, on the varsity team, and the young men that he did pull up did have speed.
Wheeler reaches for the pitch and swings and misses for strike 2. So McNichol is quickly ahead of Wheeler. Wheeler can move the bat pretty well, hit 286 on the season. And had a good eye, was the second, or rather the third leading batter on the team in bases on balls, but looked kind of bad on that second pitch. Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes now. Wheeler, of course, with a chance to hit the go-ahead run in. Takes the ball inside, evens the count at 2-2. Runner at second, 1 across here. 2 hits on the inning for the Warriors. A double by Phillips to lead off and a double by Smizer to bring him in. And the Warriors are in the game at 1-1. And Wheeler hits this one in the gap. This is going to be trouble. Wow, score.
Another one.
And Wheeler will hold up at first base with a RBI single.
Well, that's helping your own cause.
Again, he got a pitch up in the strike zone from the left-hander, drove the ball up the middle, didn't try to pull it.
And Buddy's going to send in number 21. I'm going to let you pronounce that, Mike.
Ricardo Belanchan.
Another 9th grader. Ricardo. Let's see what we got about it. Young man's outfield, runs well.
Get a chance to watch the hit by Wheeler. There you see the base runner. Wheeler hit that ball perfectly in the gap between the right and center fielder. Excuse me, the left, I'll get it right yet. Right the first time, the right fielder and the center fielder. Got my tag all tangled up.
Well, that's okay. Ricardo runs well, as we can see here. He scored against Bayside as a pinch runner in a game. He should really help this program, Buddy says. And he's got a GPA of a 4.2. tell you, not only these young men are good athletes, Mike, but not bad scholars.
That is good for me to hear. I like good scholar athletes.
Just like you were when you played for me.
If you say so.
Patrick Roscoff, left fielder, is the batter for the Warriors. Wheeler got on first. He has come out, as you said, for Belinchan as a courtesy runner. Runner on first, 2 away. Both of these runs have scored with 2 outs. Phillips opened the inning with a double. Then Muski struck out trying to advance him. Denton grounded out.
Well, both of those singles were in about, I mean, those doubles, all 3 of those hits were, no, I'm taking 2 of those hits were in the same spot. Damon's the only one that pulled it.
Runner is going. The ball is by the second baseman into center field. No further advancement.
He got a good jump on it.
I was sitting here thinking how impressed I was. Of course, we have a great view of it from where we're sitting tonight, but I was very, very impressed with the kind of jump that he got off of a left-handed pitcher. Of course, there's a secret to that, and I'm not going to share it.
Okay. And I'm not going to ask you. Now, Tim might.
As a former left-handed pitcher, ball hit down to the third baseman. Long throw to first. Perfect peg from the third baseman, Fisner, to record the third out. But the Warriors come up with 2 runs on 3 hits, and after 3.5 innings have taken a 2-1 lead in the championship game.
Seems like what they did, Mike, they were very anxious that first bat around. They're getting a second look at the pitcher, and they're looking for the pitches this time. Help me out.
The left-hander is around the plate all the time. That's going to help. They're going to go up there swinging the bat and continuing to be aggressive. I think it was very, very important that they started taking the ball to center field, to the right field area, because that's the angle that the ball is coming into them. They're actually just hitting the ball from where it came.
As the saying goes, hitting where it was pitched, right?
Exactly.
And that was a good shot of that double by Brett.
Well, Brett got a single, but we'll give him a
Well,
double.
he should have had a double.
Good crowd on hand, as we've mentioned. A lot of people up here from the Peninsula area. We're happy to see not only Kecoughtan Warrior fans, but Peninsula fans in general. A lot of fans from the other high schools in the area coming up here to lend their support, as they should, to the Kecoughtan Warriors. Get a chance to watch that steal, too. We won't be able to see the jump that Belinchan had on the play. But,
Ricardo got a great jump on that pitch right there, and also the catcher had a very difficult pitch to handle. It was inside, and it was tough for him to get his feet set to throw the ball.
So in the bottom half of the 4th inning, the Indians, who went down in order last inning, will send up Ron Pennell, the shortstop, the pitcher Brian McNichol, and the catcher Rick Gastley.
Well, Pennell has faced pitchers 80 times this year. He's been up to bat, batting .450, has 36 hits, batting in that number 4 spot.
Pennell flied out to center field his first time up.
If the top of this inning was important, the bottom has become significantly important. You go out and score a couple of runs for your team, you've got to come in there, Brett Wheeler does, and shut these Indians down so that they can get back up the plate and whack that ball around a few more times.
Buddy's going out to talk to Brett. Evidently he saw something, or...
Bob, I think he's going out to tell him exactly what I just said. You just picked up a couple of runs here, you picked up the lead. The one thing that you want to do is to go out and continue to get ahead of these hitters, and let's have a good half inning and come back and hit the ball some more. I don't think he saw anything physically wrong with Brett there.
Okay, because it's very unusual to go out after the very first pitch, and I thought, well, maybe he saw something and I didn't.
Well, fortunately in high school you get 3 free visits before you have to pull your pitcher, and I thought that was a very good piece of coaching right there, to go out and settle down Brett and tell him just how important that this half inning is.
Strike called. 1-1 the count.
Well, whatever he said there, I mean, that had some heat on it.
Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and Mike McCormick coming to you from Dale City in Northern Virginia. The championship game, Group AAA High School Championship. The Kecoughtan Warriors and the Garfield Indians. Kecoughtan on top.
Sitting high atop this equipment building.
That's right. Hey, it's a great perch. I
Really
wasn't
is.
thrilled when I saw it to begin with because the clouds were rolling in, but it looks like everything has calmed down perfectly. Game time temperature in perhaps the mid to upper 70s, a light breeze, and it would appear to be no chance of rain at this time. Pennell hits it to the right side. Denton fields it, has Wheeler going to the bag and makes the play. Looked like Pennell just kind of jogged down to first base. I don't know whether he hurt himself on the swing or not.
Well, that brings up the pitcher, McNichol.
Brian McNichol will be the batter. McNichol was a ground out victim second to first in the first inning.
He's batting .316, Tim. Been at the bat 79 times. Has had 24 hits, 14 RBIs.
McNichol takes the first pitch for a ball. One away here in the bottom of the fourth. Strike called. Channel 5 bringing this game to you under exclusive rights granted by the VHSL, the Virginia High School League. Fouled away for strike 2.
Hey, let me hear you out there, Petersburg!
And we are happy to do so. We weren't sure that we were going to be able to do the game right up until actually this morning, Monday. This game, of course, videotaped on the 15th of June, 1992. But we are so happy to be here and hope you're enjoying this fine ball game. McNichol hits the ball sharply to the shortstop. Long throw to first. Denton with the catch. So Phillips handles the ball cleanly and will bring up the catcher, Rick Gastly.
I tell you, as somebody who used to play shortstop for a lot of games, it's really great to come up with that ball in your glove and look over and see Big David Denton stand on first base.
You can
just turn it loose and he's going to go get it. And I'll tell you what, David goes and gets it down just as good as he goes up and gets it too.
He made some fine plays against First Colonial. Diving attempt from Phillips won't get to the ball. And the batter, Gastly, the catcher, is on first with a single. So a two-out single from Gastly brings up the home run hitter, Fisner.
Well, that's the 28th hit that Gastly's had this year.
Two away with the runner on first. And Wheeler will remember what not to give
He
him.
will. In fact, the last pitch he just threw right there was actually the worst pitch that he's thrown all night. It was a hanging breaking pitch, and he was probably lucky getting away with the young man just getting a single.
Phillips made a fine effort at shortstop to get to that ball, just couldn't quite get to it.
Well, we have a courtesy runner, number 11 on first base for Gastly, Ryan Kopansky, just a 10th grader.
Some communication between the second base umpire and the home plate umpire.
And what happened, Brett was set to pitch, and the home plate umpire called time, and then the second base umpire called a balk, but he had not heard the home plate umpire signal timeout.
So no damage in any event. Two away, runner at first, and just barely got back. Quick move over to first from Wheeler. Fisner with the big second inning home run. This time pounds it to the second baseman and gets by to the cutoff man, back to first quickly. So now the Indians with two outs have something going, and they've got runners at the corners as Fisner with his second hit of the ball game.
Well, that brings up the DH, Elmerson.
Elmerson was a strikeout victim of Brett Wheeler's in the second inning.
He's batting .340, Tim, has been at the bat 53 times and has got 18 hits this year.
So like the Warriors, their hits and runs coming with two outs in the top half of this inning. Garfield now with runners at first and third, two away, swing and a miss. And the runner at first was lucky to get back. If there wasn't a runner on third right now, the runner on first would be out because Skorupski would have nailed him. He just barely got back. Wheeler checks the runner at third. This one is hit Down the right side of
Nice
the out of
job.
play. Foul but caught for the third out. So the Warriors dodge a bullet here as Helmerson flies out to the right fielder.
And that's what you was talking about.
That was a big, big half inning, especially for Brett to get out of that jam. And what I was thinking on that ball that Steve just played out there is his familiarity with this field right there probably, helped him when he went after that ball because he was getting close to that fence down there.
All right, we've played 4 complete. The score after 4 innings, Kecoughtan 2, Garfield 1. We'll return with the conclusion of the state championship game after a brief timeout. One of the fans in attendance here keeping score up on the dugout. The Garfield dugout, where one of our camera positions, Beverly Penn Thaxton.
Beverly Thaxton Penn.
Actually, Thaxton Penn. I got it wrong the first time and the second time. She is on one dugout. Melvin, our main man Hooker, is on our platform here.
CBS Hooker.
CBS Hooker.
He's right here. And then out there in center
Jerome
field.
Young out in center field.
Yeah, Jerome was way out there.
Doing their, as always, fine job.
We got Crystal Bell in the truck doing the graphics. Dr. Sam is in there, Scotty's in there, and of course, Alan Parker, our slow motion man.
Leadoff batter is Arredondo, and Arredondo swings and misses. Top half of the 5th inning, 1-1 the count.
Is that curve breaking that much, or is that if it's just that much slower than his fastball, Mike?
He's very crafty. He throws the ball hard with his fastball, and he does change speeds on his breaking pitch. So he's tough.
High and away, ball 2. Gasly talking to his pitcher, says, come on, let's get that ball down the pipe here. Let's not throw balls. Throw strikes like you have been.
This young man has got a 3.0. Was selected to the first team all-district as a sophomore. Quite an accomplishment.
Call strike 2 to Arredondo. Struck out in the 3rd inning. Leads off here in the 5th. Kecoughtan leading 2-1. Championship game, Group AAA High School. Arredondo just nicely lines the ball to left field for the base hit. That's called swinging and hitting the ball right where it was pitched, trying to not overpower the ball, just to simply meet it.
And he hit a mistake, too, because McNichols got the ball up in the strike zone. Had he got the ball down, I don't think Robert would have hit the ball.
But he didn't try and overswing.
Not at all. It was a good piece of hitting.
Yeah,
you're right, Tim.
So
don't give him too much credit.
Oh, I once in a while I'm right. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, but I'll hear it all the way home.
I played a little
his head will
baseball in
get
my
bigger.
day.
Yes,
I was
Tim.
a pretty fair left-handed pitcher.
Now we got to change. What's Buddy doing?
I would imagine he's bringing in some kind of a pinch runner here.
Going to the umpire is
maybe
checking
he's
with the
going to
official score.
he's going to change his designated hitter. I'm not sure.
That may be what, because that's who was due up is
Macy Brooks.
Macy Brooks. Now, could Macy come back in?
I'm not sure of that. When you start fooling around with that designated hitter, I tell you, I really don't know if he can or not. What he's doing here, it's an awful tough task for Macy to go up against a left-hander. And what he's doing is bringing in a right-hander here who hopefully can see the ball a little bit better and make something happen at the plate.
That's Jonathan Hatt, number 30.
Hatt or Hyatt?
Hatt. Okay. He's just a sophomore. He brought him up from the JVs. He's got good speed. Is an infielder.
Runner on first, nobody out here. Quick throw over to first, and Arredondo is back in time. So Hatt will replace Brooks at the plate, and we'll wait and see how that works out future situations down. Of course, Morocco Brown is the young man being DH'd for. Oh, they got him. What a great move to first by McNichol. And Arredondo will try and get back. He will not do so as he is tagged out on the rundown. So he is erased on a fine pickoff play by McNichol. Hatt will remain at the plate, but now instead of a runner on first and no one out, you've got the bases empty and one away.
From our angle, Tim, it looked like an excellent pickoff move. As long as that pitcher keeps his knee and his foot and the rest of his leg in front of that rubber when he's making his move to first base, then he can go over there. Once that knee or leg or foot goes behind that rubber, then he's got to go home.
Two quick strikes on the batter.
I bet we see a changeup or one of his curveball. No, I was wrong.
1 ball, 2
First
strikes.
time.
First time. First time on this batter you were wrong.
Oh, okay.
Hatt takes it low for ball 2. Jonathan Hatt replacing Macy Brooks as the DH. 2-2 the count. Hits the ball to center field, and a good running catch by the center fielder Parker for the second out.
He got good one on or metal on that ball that time. Mike, who's the one that would call the balk? Would that be the first baseman, the ump on first base, or the one behind the plate?
Well, in this situation, since you have 6 umpires out here tonight, the first base umpire has the best look on the field of the move. Whenever you get into regular season play and you're dealing with a 2 umpire situation, most of the time you're going to see that home plate umpire call it.
The batter is David Skorupski, the catcher. Flied out.
Going to Emerson College in Boston.
That's right. In the 3rd inning. We're going to get that one right.
Yes, sir.
1 ball, no strikes. And the count even now, 1-1. There you see a real good look at David. Two away here in the top half of the 5th inning. In the dirt.
Well, that was all three of those pitches were low. And David, we tried to check swing on that second one, got called for a strike.
Fouled out of play. 2-2 with 2 away.
Young man caught a hold of one over there at Old Dominion in one game that we did.
I saw him catch a hold of one in Colonial Heights off of Bill Pulsifer, and I think the ball's still going. He can take the ball deep.
Got him on a good pitch for strike 3. So the Warriors got the leadoff batter with a single, but he was picked off, and then it was Katie bar the door after that, as the Warriors ended up with 3 up and 3 down eventually, and we've played 4.5 innings, and the Warriors lead the Indians. Kecoughtan 2, Garfield 1, as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Get a chance to watch the pickoff play, or certainly you'll see the motion. Now watch, as you were saying, Mike, the knee. Left-hander.
He did. He stepped right straight.
Chased down by the shortstop. And the pickoff play successful. 1 run, 5 hits for the Indians. Kecoughtan has 2 runs on 3 hits. Grouped them all together in the 4th inning after going 3 up and 3 down for the first 3 innings. And in the bottom half of the 5th inning, it'll be Chris Williams leading off, and then the top of the order, Chris Wright and Kevin Parker, scheduled up for the Garfield Indians. There you see the view of the field. As I mentioned, the fans ringing this field. Very few seats in place behind or around a home plate. Certainly not enough to accommodate the large number of fans on hand for this championship game. It's kind of a shame they didn't have a bigger facility. I know they initially wanted to play this game in the middle of the day today over at Prince William Stadium at where the Prince William Cannons play. I believe that's where they play. But that game, for whatever reasons, this game was moved to 7 o'clock and conflicted with a game at that stadium. So nonetheless, a fine field to play the game, and a good game it has been. Wheeler delivers a blazing fastball high.
Well, Williams is batting .317. He's been at the plate 41 times, has had 13 hits. He has struck out 12 times.
And takes a strike. Wheeler really knows how to throw that nice low at the knees on the corner fastball or curveball. He really gets great control. As you've mentioned several times, Mike, his positioning of the ball is really a masterpiece on his part. Justin Jr., we have to add that quickly. Wheeler will be around for at least one more year with the Kecoughtan Warriors, as will David Denton over at first base. What a nice nucleus to have for your returning team.
Arredondo is just a fresh, upcoming sophomore. Got a good nucleus coming back. The center fielder, Morocco Brown, just a sophomore, upcoming junior.
2-2 the count. Popped up. Phillips goes back, calls for it, and makes the catch. Backed up nicely, I should say, by the left fielder, Roscoff. But Phillips makes the grab for the first out.
Damon seems to be very, very competitive out there.
Damon Phillips is a gamer. When that first pitch is thrown, he just takes charge. And when you look back at the inning where we scored the 2 runs, Damon Phillips took charge, got a double down the left field line. Steve Smizer, who's a gamer, very competitive young man, he got the base hit that drove him in.
Ball is hit to center field. Running catch made by Rock Brown. So 2 down in the 5th, and the batter will be Kevin Parker. Reached on a fielder's choice and grounded out.
Of course, the other gamer in this ball game is standing right there on that hill right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Don't you like to have a pitcher who has his kind of intensity? Focused all the time.
And a lot of confidence in himself. And I think that's got, if you're a pitcher in high school, you've got to have the confidence to be good.
Ball hit to Phillips, it's short. Nice pickup in the dirt. Denton grabs it. And they called him safe. Nice play by Denton to dig that ball out.
Nice scoop, Dave. Hey, good job, Dave.
That was a tough play for Damon right there. This young man who just hit the ball has real good wheels. I noticed that the last time he hit a ground ball down to Arredondo. That was a very, very tough play, even if he fields it cleanly.
It was. It truly was a tough chance, and I'm waiting to see what they score that as, whether it be a hit or an error. My thought is they would give an error on the throw, but it could have been an infield hit as well. Certainly a tough chance for Phillips anyway to slice it. Well, nonetheless, with 2 out, the Indians have a runner. And the batter is the first baseman, Brian Jersey.
This could be the real test for Skorupski right here, because this young man can run, and there's 2 outs. They're going to want to get him in scoring position.
Wheeler with a good throw, but the runner back in time.
Well, Jersey's had 32 hits, and he has struck out only 9 times after being at bat. Prior to this, 71 times. So he's not much of a strikeout victim.
Jersey was hit by a pitch and popped out to the first baseman. 0 for 1 on the night. Wheeler delivers, fouled out of play. So Wheeler gets ahead of the batter. Or is that 1-1?
I wouldn't be surprised to see the runner on the move here with 2 strikes. Or is it 1-1? I thought it was 2 strikes.
2, but I guess it is.
And your number 3 hitter at the plate, he's probably gone. No.
Ball gets away from Skorupski. Well, now what happened?
He said it hit the batter.
That's probably a break of sorts, as the runner was going to advance to second anyway. So Jersey, it takes another one for the team. That's the second time he's been nicked. First time he got him flush. Brings up the batter, Ron Pennell. We'll see what happens here. Just got him on the foot, it looks like. Jersey disgusted with the shot. He wanted to have a chance to swing the bat.
Well, that brings up Pennell, your shortstop, who was batting in your fourth position. Batting .450, Tim. He's had 36 hits at 80 times at bat.
Here's where you tighten the belt a notch. If you're Wheeler, throws it a little low. Runners at first and second, 2 away. Wheeler pitched out of trouble in the 4th inning. Now the Indians with 2 outs have something going. Runners at first and second, and Wheeler behind on the count. 2 balls and no strikes. That'll take some time, gather his concentration. Checks the runner at second. Delivers a called strike. So Pennell was apparently taking all the way. The Indians trailing by a run. 2 away, Wheeler delivers, popped up. Called for by Phillips, and he squeezes it for the 3rd out. So the Warriors again dodged the bullet.
You want to know how good that pitch was? That was a 2-1 count right there. He was asked to throw a breaking pitch for a strike, because if he doesn't throw a strike, we go to a 3-1 count, and the young man gets a real good pitch to handle. So that was a very good job by Brett right there.
And I like the way Mike said that he was told to, because the pitches are called.
Exactly.
So Wheeler pitches out of a tough situation. 2 runners are stranded by the Indians. And we move to the top half of the 6th inning. I perhaps haven't mentioned this, but they only play 7 innings, so time is running out for both of these teams. And just looking ahead, if I may, to the bottom of the 6th, the Indians have gone through the top 4 batters. Wheeler will be looking at the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th batters for the next 2 innings. So we're going to get a chance to see Rock Brown's catch. The running catch for the out in that last inning. So McNichol, the left-hander, back on the mound for the top half of the 6th inning. And the Warriors will have the top of the order. Phillips, Muski, and Denton, the scheduled batters in the 6th for Kecoughtan. Lest we should forget, we want to take this opportunity to thank the fine people here at Garfield High School for all of their assistance in our setting up this afternoon. The crew got here a little later than they'd like to get here. Certainly I know Scotty likes to get here early and get everything all set up and tested out, but commitments, as I mentioned before, this game was a game we had wanted to do but weren't sure we physically could do.
I don't know if you caught that or not, but if you notice number 20, Rhett Fesner, is limping.
Yes, he
and
is.
When they were throwing the ball around to come in, one of the young men threw it right at him real hard and hit him right in the ankle.
And Phillips beats the throw at first for an infield single, I would imagine.
That may have well been because of his ankle. He didn't get a quicker jump on that before. I don't know. But
Well, the infield grass here looks pretty thick and pretty tall, and so that ball took a long time getting to him. And you're probably right, Bob. He should have charged that ball a little bit better than he did, and wound up Damon beating it out.
Boy, that's a great observation on your part, because this could be a big situation here if Phillips can get across for the extra run, if you will. What a huge runner he becomes.
well, that brings up young Jacob Muski.
Muski has grounded out and struck out. Batting .310, he is due. Squares around, shows bunt. And in the meantime, McNichol throws over to first, wants to keep Phillips close. Uski squares around, puts the ball down. It's going to be a good sacrifice. Phillips will advance, and
nice.
Uski does the job.
But you're right, Mike. That just kind of died when it got into the grass. Talking about this infield.
That's an excellent job by Jacob right there. Everybody on that bench ought to be there to congratulate him when he comes in. Those types of plays right there win or lose ball games at this particular level.
And the batter is David Denton. Denton also due. He is 0 for 2 in the ball game, batting more than 400. And he, of course, those of you familiar with Kecoughtan, he has 8 dingers on the season. He has the power to go along with the 423 average. Ball is low, gets away from the catcher, and Phillips will easily advance to third.
Well, that sacrifice even becomes much bigger now.
David will now look for a pitch. He's got a 2-0 count on him. Here's a pitch that we like to be aggressive with if it's in their zone. He'll look for a pitch that he can drive out to that green part of the field and get Damon home.
Looking for that RBI.
And Denton is ahead on the count, which makes it even nicer. Infield plays in. Denton swings and misses for strike 1. David was a pop-out victim in the first inning to the second baseman and then grounded out third to first in the fourth. Hits this one sharply to first, and sharp enough that there's no advancement by Phillips. He just had no chance to go. Denton hammered the ball to the first baseman.
Hit the ball hard, buddy.
Brings up Steve.
So Smizer has 1 RBI. Double back in the fourth inning. And eventually scored the go-ahead run. Or at least the runner who came in for him did. Smizer hits it high and deep, but playable by the center fielder, and it is recorded as the third out, and Parker got there.
That was 1 pitch late.
Yep, sure was. So Smizer flies out to the center fielder to end the inning. The Warriors leave a runner at third. A huge runner, I might add. They did get 1 hit. They have 4 hits and 2 runs, while the Indians have 5 hits and 1 run. And here in the bottom half of the 6th inning, scheduled to hit for the Garfield Indians are the pitcher Brian McNichol, the catcher Rick Gasly, and the third baseman Rhett Fisner, as you will see the Damon Phillips hit back in the top of the inning. Slow roller to the third baseman, who, as you said, Bob, had been limping, and Phillips with good speed beat it out.
I was watching them as they were coming in throwing the ball, and he threw the ball and went low and hit him on and bounced like like it hit the bone right on his ankle. So I know he was hurting. But that young man McNichol dodged the bullet that inning.
Saw Jerome Young, the center field cameraman in your picture a moment ago, out there on top of the van. Our camera people will go wherever they've got to go. Thank our crew for their always superb effort tonight. And as always, last minute called upon, and they're here to do the job as always. Great effort, Channel 5 crew. McNichol hits the ball deep and foul, just foul down the left field line. The long run by Roscoff, he did not get to the ball, but McNichol fouled it all the way to the corner. Boy, that got my heart going for a minute there, Bob.
Well, McNichol has batted 79 times, has had 24 hits. 1 home run, 18 singles, and 5 doubles.
McNichol, the left-handed batter, Hits the ball to Phillips. Shortstop over to Denton at first for the first out.
Damon looks so comfortable at that shortstop position, and to think that last year he was behind the plate, as you said, he could play anywhere.
Yeah, Damon can be comfortable anywhere on this field tonight, and he's such a gamer, he's going to do a good job wherever he is.
You know, I wasn't not paying attention a minute ago. I got some great news in my headset a minute ago, as you did, Bob.
Talk about it.
Want to tell the folks? Well, I'll tell you after this first pitch. Wheeler delivers, and a call strike to the catcher, Rick Gasly. We will have our fall schedule. This game, between this game here on the 15th of June and September, ball hit sharply to left field by Gasly for a base hit. Misplayed momentarily, but Gasly not able to advance on the play. But we will have our football season. We'll lead off with the battle between the Hampton Crabbers and the Woodrow Wilson Presidents, a matchup that a lot of people have wanted to see for a long time. That'll be our first game in a 7-game regular season schedule for high school football beginning this fall here on Channel 5. It'll be our pleasure to bring that high school coverage to you, and of course postseason play as Hampton teams are involved, whether they be Hampton, Phoebus, Kecoughtan, or Bethel. So we're very happy to announce that game.
A lot of people wonder why wonder why Hampton is so excited about playing Woodrow Wilson. Of course, won a couple state championships, but I think Sparrow is gone. Well, one Sparrow is gone, the other one is still there. He's another Sparrow quarterbacking for his second year as he's upcoming junior, and he was a starter as a freshman. Good game to start off with.
Runner at first. Call strike, 1-1 the count to the batter, Rhett Fisner. Fisner with the big home run for the only run in the ball game for the Garfield Indians. He is 2 for 2 as he singled in the 4th inning. Runner at first, 1 out. Swing and a miss by Fisner.
Tell me about that pitch, Michael.
I think that was such a good pitch right there because he changed speeds, not necessarily because of the location. He had Fisner way out front on that pitch.
Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and Mike McCormick bringing you this championship game. Over to throw at first and back easily is Gasly. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wheeler ahead on the count. 1 away in the the bottom half rather, of the 6th inning. Runner is not going. The ball is fouled down the first baseline, out of play. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Have to finish this game early. I can't see much more after it gets any darker. I won't be able to see my score sheet.
We don't have any lights.
Great picture here, though. Camera's doing a great job. Again, way out in front as
he scatters
Fisner's teammates staying loose over the dugout there. Fouled into the dugout, and of course, all of the Garfield Indians standing and anticipating the play. They are ranked number 11 nationally by USA Today. Just 2 defeats all season, 23-2. A little bit low from Wheeler. Trying to make Fisner go for a bad pitch. 2-2 is the count. Brett Wheeler looking to record his 14th victory of the season.
What a big one it'll be.
Fouled out of play.
This young man is, even though he's batting down in the order, batting 7th, makes good contact with the ball.
He is impressive. He appears to have real good hands, and he has been a very, very tough out in this ball game.
324 with his batting coming into this. Has been at the plate 74 times and has 13 hits.
Fouled out of play again as Fisner hangs tough. He was fouled off about 4 in a row. Left-hander. Certainly his first hit of this game indelibly etched in Brett Wheeler's mind. He does not want to make that mistake again. Fisner, not a big player physically, but boy, did he get a hold of one for his home run. Pitch a little bit low. Plate umpire called. Of course, half the crowd liked the call. and half didn't.
Yeah, the side over here didn't like it at all.
I think Brett has to come right here with a pitch on the outside part of the plate. This young man likes to open up real quick, and I think he can get him to ground the ball to the second baseman if he goes on the outside corner.
And throws a ball 4. So Wheeler being a little cautious with Mr. Fisner, as well he should. Now with 1 away, runners at first and second. And the batter will be the DH, Brian Helmerson. Helmerson is 0 for 2, struck out and flied out. So again, this is the 3rd inning in a row that the Indians have had base runners. Back in the 5th inning, they had an error and a hit batsman to get 2 runners, left those men stranded. Stranded a couple in the 4th inning as well. Wheeler, of course, pitching against as good a team as he's faced all season, if not the best. And now with 1 away, infield looking for the DP. Helmerson takes strike 1.
Very important pitch.
I think that one was, because I would be surprised if this young man sees another fastball at this at-bat.
You know, it's a point of the game that a lot of people lose sight of, is not the physical aspect of this. Call, strike, ball in the dirt, dug out nicely by Arredondo, and safe at third on the steal. Umpire called that one from the seat of his pants as he lost his footing. But the runner does advance to third on the steal. Good stop by Arredondo. That ball gets into left field. We've got a tie ball game. So the runner at first stayed. It was not a double steal. And the count is 0-2 on the batter. Get a chance to watch this on the replay. You'll see the attempted bunt, or if at least it was not attempted bunt, it was enough to distract Skorupski. It did the job as the runner was able to advance. But a 0-2 count stands against Helmerson. Wheeler with a runner on first. The runner is going. And I didn't see the punch out.
3.
I guess it was. That was an invisible punch out by the umpire. I did not see. Well, now he's looking and he's saying, I think he's calling a batter back.
Oh, no, evidently he just took off to get another bat. I thought he'd called him out.
Well, I think we were all a bit premature on that one.
What was that on? I thought he struck out at 31.
Well, nonetheless, it is not an out. I did not see the umpire call the strike.
I thought I heard clearly the umpire say ball, and what he was doing running the dugout, I have no idea.
Now,
Coach Denton's definitely going to find out what the idea is.
Yeah. And there was no strike signal from the
No,
umpire.
there
He's been emphatic all night long about a strike. And I think Coach Denton is asking how come the scoreboard registered a second out, and saying, hey, maybe you missed that one, ump. You know, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But, of course, you can't question balls and strikes.
Directly, Tim. You can't question them directly.
Good point. Good point.
There are ways of getting around that.
Yeah. So, and that was just demonstrated, I might add. So the count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, not 2 outs as some people in the stands thought there were. And now Wheeler really has to reach back and protect this 1-run lead. Runners at second and third, 1 out. Swing and a miss for the strikeout.
Now they can put it back up on the scoreboard.
So Helmerson definitely now is a strikeout victim. And it brings up the 9th batter, the right fielder, Chris Williams. He is 0 for 2. And if Wheels can get by this man, he will have a big sigh of relief, and then we'll have to look at the top of the order in the 7th. Wheeler delivers a little outside for a ball. 2 away in the bottom of the 6th. Kecoughtan 2, Garfield 1. Group AAA state championship game. A little low for ball 2. I think he wanted that pitch bad. The number 9 batter, Williams. Strike called.
When Brett gets up there on the mound, he doesn't waste any time.
Bunt attempt is fouled away out of play. Skorupski, in his attempt to get to the ball, fell down, but never had a chance. So Wheeler is ahead of the batter, or at least even with the batter, at 2-2. I was thinking it was 1-2, but in fact 2-2 is the count. After having thrown 2 balls, he came back with 2 strikes. And I guess at this point, when it's 2-2, you are ahead of the batter if you're Wheeler.
Although with first base open, you know, he's still going to try to make him hit his pitch here.
Ball is a single to center field. Both runs will score. So Williams gets the 2 RBI single. The Indians scored twice here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Chris Williams with a single up the middle. Leadoff batter Chris Wright comes to the plate. Wright had a single in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd, and flied out to center field in the 5th inning. Williams, by the way, batting 9th, has an average of .317. There are no weak spots in this Garfield lineup. I should quickly add that. Looking down their batting order, one batter has less than a .300 batting average.
Very timely hit.
Well, you said it before, Mike. It's not necessarily how many hits you get, it's when you get them. And that was a perfect example of that.
I think it was, and I think the young man did a pretty good job of hitting, too. He waited on a slow breaking pitch and drove the ball up the middle.
Swing and a miss to right. 1-1 the count. Pitch is high, the ball thrown down to second, and the runner is in safely on the steal. Count runs to 2 balls and 1 strike on the leadoff batter, Chris Wright. Time called by the second base umpire. And I believe we're set to go. Williams appears to be shaken up a bit on that slide into second. Three and 1 the count. Three and 2. Wheeler finds the strike zone. So 2 away, bottom of the 6th, runner on second, and a full count to the batter, Chris Wright. Second baseman is 1 for 3. The runner is going. The ball is hit down to Denton at first. He'll step on the bag, and that'll be the 3rd out of the inning. But the Garfield Indians score 2 big runs on 2 hits Bob, before we go to the top of the 7th, I thought maybe you'd like to make mention, if you hadn't thought of it already, and I think you did.
That's exactly what I did.
Some of the players on this Warrior team that we don't mention much of.
I'm starting at the bottom of this list that I've got here. Richie Clark is just a sophomore. He's a catcher. He's got a GPA of 3.0. He could be starting for catcher for the Kecoughtan Warriors next year. Andy Lee is a freshman, left-handed pitcher. He's going to be a big part of the Kecoughtan future. Chuck Payne is just a freshman. We saw him earlier as one of the pinch runners, got a GPA of 3.2. Ricardo
Bellinchan.
I got to make sure I do that right.
If I interrupt you, Bob, this is the RBI single, and I didn't realize, because it's hard to see from this angle, that actually went right through the box as Wheeler had a shot at it, just couldn't get his glove down in time.
Bellinchan is an outfielder. He was one of our courtesy runners today. He should help the program very well. He's got a 4.2. John Hatt is another young man we saw, runs well as an infielder. Those players were brought up from the JVs. Patrick Painter, rising senior, has done some relief work around the mound this season. Had an ankle injury later on in the season. Mike Lyons, rising senior, has played sparingly this season, but is a good defensive outfielder. Peter McKinney, rising senior, started much of the season, has done a solid job. He helps out when other players have been injured. He plays both center and right field, depending upon who's pitching.
All right, the due-up batters for Kecoughtan, Brett Wheeler, Patrick Roscoff, and Robert Arredondo are the scheduled batters for Kecoughtan. Down by a run, Wheeler hits it to third. Fisner over to first for the first out. McNichol has been tough. Just 4 hits and 2 runs. And Roscoff will come to the plate 0 for 2. He struck out and grounded out. Brett Wheeler trots back to the dugout. Win, lose, or draw tonight, he will be back next season for the Warriors. Roscoff takes a strike.
Well, McNichol feels he's 2 outs away, and he is not wasting any time.
Roscoff swings and misses on a bad pitch. Buddy Denton's Kecoughtan Warriors with 2 outs away from being runners-up in the state. But they are not dead yet. Roscoff takes the pitch high. One ball, 2 strikes. Garfield 3, Kecoughtan 2. A little bit low. Count runs even at 2 and 2. Due up after Roscoff is Robert Arredondo, and then the DH. Oh, what a terrible, terrible call. Ball looked like it was almost in the dirt, but call strike 3. So 1 out remaining now as Arredondo will step to the plate.
Well, Kecoughtan has done some things with 2 outs in this game so far tonight.
Arredondo does something. He singles to center. Center fielder bats it down, and Arredondo will hold up at first. So don't turn out the lights yet.
Well, answers our question. Macy Brooks is...
Macy re-enters as the designated hitter here.
2 away. The Warriors scored their 2 runs with 2 outs. McNichol is hittable, obviously. The Warriors have 5 hits against him. Now Macy Brooks, the left-handed batter, will be called upon to keep it alive.
Of course, people might wonder, okay, why does Macy Brooks come up in this situation? You still have left-hander against left-hander. Brooks has the capability of putting the ball out of this ballpark with 1 pitch. And at this particular point in the game, Buddy does need a ball that's in the gap. He needs a ball over the fence, whatever, to get back into the game. So that's probably why you're seeing him at the plate now.
And of course, Arredondo, young man on first, was picked off earlier. I'm sure he's going to be very tentative over there.
Good point. Back in the 5th, he singled and did get picked off. 2 away, top of the 7th. The Warriors need a run to tie. Macy Brooks, ball gets away from the catcher, but he keeps it close enough that Arredondo can't afford to try and advance. Are you limited by the number of courtesy runners you can have in a game, Mike?
Well, not with your pitchers and catchers. They can, courtesy runners can come in at any time. Of course, you have the re-entry rule with all the other players.
Brooks beats it.
Tough play.
To the second baseman. He's out at second. That's it. So Brian McNichol is mobbed, semi-murdered by his teammates. Garfield wins the state championship. Kecoughtan certainly has to be proud of their effort.
I don't know if you can see on your monitor right now, but David Denton was just walking back with all of his players, and he was saying, guys, show some class. This is what these guys have learned on this ball field all this year and all last year, and that was great leadership on the part of David Denton.
I was noticing that, and it makes it big. You got this tremendous letdown. You had the win within your grasp, and it got away from you, but you're right, they show a lot of class.
And well, they should. They've accomplished things that Kecoughtan has never done before. They're 20-5 on the season, or actually 20-6 now, but a superb effort by the Kecoughtan Warriors, and certainly no reason to do anything but walk off the field with their heads held as high as they can. Brett Wheeler pitched a fine ball game, allowing just a total of 7 hits and 3 runs. There you see the final score. The Kecoughtan Warriors defeated by Garfield. The Indians, ranked number 11 in the country, come back in the bottom half of the 6th inning with 2 runs with 2 outs to go ahead and ultimately win the ball game. The winning pitcher is Brian McNichol. He advances his record to 10-2, and Brett Wheeler will finish his season at 13-4. The junior will return next year with a great number of his teammates. Well, again, we want to thank all of the fine people here at Garfield High School
Absolutely.
for all of their efforts in assisting us in setting up today. Of course, our crew, Jerome Young up on the van, Beverly Paxton Paxton, Beverly over there on the dugout. She gives it a shot. She says, what is her last name? Bev, sweetheart, great job. And of course, there you see she is up there on the dugout in her hot pink outfit. And of course, Melvin Hooker, CBS Hooker, our cameraman tonight. He was getting some great shots of us. We always slip him an extra fin for that,
yes.
of course.
I noticed you did that.
Of course.
Took care of him.
And of course, Mike McCormick, we really want to thank you for your
Mike.
assistance. A great effort to have you with us, and it was really nice to have your expertise.
Well, thank you. We certainly appreciate the work that you do with WHCS and how you are able to give us some broadcast time and the players who certainly deserve it. Thanks a lot.
Our pleasure. And these young men from Kecoughtan High School and Buddy Denton, the head coach, keep your heads high, guys. You did a great job.
Absolutely.
20-6 on the season, state's runner-up. Great job. Final score again, Garfield of Dale City 3, Kecoughtan High School, the Warriors 2. The Garfield Indians win the Group AAA state championship by 3-2. For Bob Hintz and the entire crew, this is Tim Cole. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.